My name is Sarah Schellenbarger, Recreation Manager with Kirkland Parks and Community Services.
And I'm John Lloyd, the Deputy Director for Kirkland Parks and Community Services.
So at the September 29th PFEC meeting, you toured Peter Kirk Park and you heard from Jules and Jason a bit about what it takes to operate the Peter Kirk pool. And because we frequently hear from the community an interest in more access to aquatics, we're going to spend some more time tonight talking about the existing aquatics access in Kirkland. And then we're going to start to introduce some ideas for future possibilities of aquatics access in Kirkland. But before we dive into more about our current access, we're going to go back in time to 1970. This was the summer after the pool opened. It opened in 1969. One thing that was special about the pool's construction is that it was funded by community donations, and volunteer labor actually helped build the pool itself. So this pool's been in operation for over 50 years. The woman in the foreground here is a lifeguard. She's wearing a red and white striped suit, and you can see badges on her hip. Those represent her accomplishments as a lifeguard. Since its initial opening, the pool has had one major renovation that took place in 1995. It included new decking, and then the bathhouse, lifeguard house, mechanical rooms, and control systems were all rebuilt. And since then, other investments have been made to keep the pool current with applicable health codes. It's been made ADA accessible, and 4 years ago, the plaster pool shell was replaced. As a seasonal outdoor pool, we're only open to the public for about 13 weeks each summer. So we squeeze in as much programming and pool access as possible during that time, but we're limited by weather, seasonal staff availability, and pool maintenance needs. The pool is typically open from early in the morning to late evening, and we offer both group and private swim lessons for all ages, public swim, lap swim, water exercise classes, swim team, aqua leaders, which is a volunteer program, and pool rentals. So there's a lot going on. So what does it take to operate all of these programs safely? Lifeguards. So we hire about 90 lifeguards each year, and recruiting lifeguards and other aquatic staff has been challenging nationwide recently. Many agencies are struggling to find staff to operate pools and beaches, including some of our neighboring agencies. In 2020, it was particularly challenging for lifeguards to find work or to get certified, so many of those certifications lapsed, which created a higher demand for those trainings in 2021 coming out of the pandemic. That, coupled with the current job market, we have to be competitive in order to find enough staff each year to operate the pool, and we need a lot of people to be able to offer all of those programs. Each of those lifeguards must be trained. The initial certification course is 30 hours, and a recertification requires an 8-hour class. And those certifications need to be renewed every 2 years to stay current. We also provide training to our guards every week throughout the summer to work on practicing skills, emergency action plans, team building, and endurance training. And we need our staff to be highly trained in order to do their jobs properly and to keep all of our pool and our beach visitors safe. Because we are a waterfront community, water safety education is very important to our mission. We want all community members to feel comfortable and safe in the water, and the primary way that we strive to meet this mission is through swim lessons. As you can see in the pie chart, the vast majority of our program participants are coming to swim lessons compared to other programs that we offer at the pool. And we see a high demand for those swim lessons, so much so that we are unable to fully meet the community's needs. We had almost 600 swim lesson classes that were offered in 2022 and almost 2,800 swimmers who were served. But there were over 1,500 people who we could not serve who were on wait lists. And I'll tell you, those folks who were on the wait list were so determined to get a space in our swim lesson classes that together they accounted for over 10,000 waitlist entries. So we talked a bit about the training and expertise of our lifeguards, but our swim instructors are the other staff role that's essential to providing high quality swim lessons. Swim lessons are happening at the pool usually for 8 hours each weekday and 2 hours on Saturdays, and multiple classes happening at any given time. So for each week, we need about 20 swim instructors to run lessons. It also takes about 25 hours to train staff on how to be a swim instructor, and we offer 10 different swim lesson levels for the littlest ones in swim diapers all the way up to adults. And each level has different learning objectives and skills that must be met before a swimmer can move on to the next level. We work really hard to make sure that participants are at that right level. We help them gain skills so they can move on to the next level. And many participants repeat a class 2 or 3 times before they're ready for that next swim lesson level. So there's often a lot of communication with parents on swimmers' progress, class transfers to get swimmers into the right class, and then skill assessment and tracking so that swimmers and parents know what goals have been met and what skills need practicing. So we went on a little deep dive about what it takes to run swim lessons for close to 3,000 people each summer, and we could do the same for swim team, for open swim, for water exercise classes, for pool rentals, everything that happens at the Peter Kirk pool. Each program has its own unique requirements and complexities, but I'm going to stop here and hand it over to John to talk about some other considerations.
As you just learned, our staff put a lot of time and energy into creating programs and hiring staff to run the pool. However, you can have the greatest programs with the best staff, but if you do not have adequate maintenance plan, all your effort developing those programs and hiring staff go down the drain. Pool maintenance is a very complex science. There's a lot of maintenance you can see out on the pool deck, but there's also a lot of maintenance that happens behind the scenes to help keep the pool running. Some of the maintenance that you can see are things like the lifeguards and other staff removing leaves, Band-Aids, and other debris from the pool, scrubbing the pool walls to prevent algae growth, and vacuuming the pool regularly. But behind the scenes, staff must ensure that the pool mechanical system is functional and that the water chemistry is balanced at all times. Maintaining the correct water chemistry is crucial for swimmer health and safety. We are required to test the pool water at least 3 times per day, but we often test more often during peak programming times as high bather load can quickly impact water chemistry. We test the water for chlorine levels, pH, alkalinity, and hardness to ensure that everything is balanced and safe. Additionally, we are required to have a water treatment operator on staff. This requires staff to become either a certified pool operator or aquatic facility operator. Both certifications require a 2-day class and subsequent test. It is important to remember that the pool mechanical system runs constantly. Problems can happen at any time, and it is important that we are prepared to respond at all times. So we've talked a lot about what goes into the operations of our pool, but there's a lot to consider as we look into the future. Operating a pool takes a lot of planning and requires staff with specific skills and knowledge to keep people safe. In a few minutes, I will discuss some of the possible amenities that could be included in a new aquatic center. As I go through the different options, there are several things to keep in mind. The number of lifeguards needed varies based on the pool design and usage. For example, guarding lap swim is different than guarding a water park. The facility should be designed with different uses in mind. A competition pool will have different features than a recreation pool. Competition pools may have starting blocks, timing systems, scoreboards, and seating, while a recreational pool may have play features, splash pads, lazy river, and more. The design of the pool also dictates what you can do in the pool. For example, an L-shaped pool like ours allows for lap swimming and diving at the same time. In the pool shown on the left on this slide, the diving well is part of the lap lanes. You're not able to use the diving board at the same time as lap swim is happening. Another consideration is water temperature. The ideal water temperature varies based on the user and the activity. Lap swimmers typically want the water a little colder, while kids want the water a little warmer. For indoor pools, air temperature must also be considered. Air temperature should be approximately 2 degrees higher than the water temperature. When thinking about a future pool, we want to be able to serve all ages and provide a variety of elements to ensure there is something for everybody. In the last 50 years, Kirkland's population has more than doubled, but the number of pools has not. As we've demonstrated, there's a huge demand for aquatics programs, and the aquatics infrastructure in Kirkland has not kept up. Now I will discuss some of those possible amenities that could be included in a future aquatic center. As mentioned, Aquatic facilities contain a variety of different amenities and features depending on the desired use of the pool. Some examples are lap pools, indoor splash pads, lazy rivers, therapy pools, water basketball, volleyball, and more. Here are a few pictures of pools that have zero depth entry, where you can essentially walk in from the pool deck into the water gradually and slowly. Here are some examples of some potential play features for a pool. Some are very intricate and involve lots of sprays and bucket dumps, where others may just be designs of the pool and how the pool is constructed. And here are some more play features. One of the more popular elements are vertical water sprays, or bucket dumps, as mentioned earlier. In-ground spray features also bring some excitement to the pool. Current channels or lazy rivers can serve a variety of purposes. They can be used for exercise, walking against the current, or just walking around the pool, or also could be used as a recreational element where people could float around in inner tubes and enjoy the flow of the water. Like I said, how you design the pool often dictates how you can utilize the pool. When designing the pool, we want to consider things like wellness classes and special events, whether it's a dive-in movie or fitness class or just general open swim. Here are some examples of different lap pools and different configurations. The one in the upper right is clearly a competition pool with a diving platform at the end with seating along the side, while the one in the lower right is a smaller outdoor lap pool. Next, I will show a few example facilities to give you some context about what can fit in any given space. This is an example of a small recreation pool. As you can see, there are no lap lanes in this pool, but there is a current channel, a little spray ground area, and a small water slide with some open water in front of it. This is an example of a medium recreation pool. As you can see, it's got a bigger water slide, different areas cordoned off, including the hot tub right here in the foreground. This is another medium recreation pool. As you can see, it's got the current channel going around what is known as a vortex. The water in those areas will circulate around that center area, and you can see there's a group exercise class happening in the back area. This recreation pool appears to have some lap lanes that are currently being used for that Group X program. Here's an example of a larger aquatic complex that features both a lap pool and a recreation pool in the same facility. As you can see, the water slides actually go into both the recreation pool and the lap pool. Another consideration in this pool is the large deck space that can be used for events, for gathering, or other purposes. And finally, here's another example of a large indoor water park recreation pool. When it comes to designing a pool, there are a lot of different options to consider, and we want to make sure that we're including as many users as possible, and we're designing the pool in such a way that we can maximize the aquatic space for the community. Thank you.